Hi, welcome to another review. It's been about a week since my last one, so sorry about the delay. It's just been a bit busy. Having small children can be quite time consuming. So yes, I've got a short list of albums that I'm going to get around to reviewing over the next few weeks, months, or however long it takes really. And I asked on Twitter, I just asked randomly if anybody had any albums they wanted me that they know that I had, because I do post quite regularly kind of what I'm listening to. And only one person replied, that's fine. And they said this particular album. And so I was really happy about that, because actually it was on my list of things to do in the near future, so I thought I'd just get it done now then. It's called The Shape of Jazz to Come by a chappie called Ornette Coleman, and it's actually his quartet. There he is, Ornette, looking quite young. He died recently. It was this year, 2015, I'm pretty sure. In the summer, I remember being quite sad. I've got a couple of his albums, and I had a little bit of a Ornette-a-thon for a week or so. I just listened to all of them as well. I tend to do that if people pass away, just because it's nice to remember, I suppose. So this is the first Ornette Coleman album I bought. I bought it last year from a charity shop. It cost me, I think it was £1, maybe £2. I don't know. It's not in amazing condition. It's a bit scruffy around the edges, but to be honest with you, for £1, and it's a charity shop, so it goes to charity. So I'm not fussed. The record itself is beautiful. It's on Atlantic, which means it's got the glorious little labels. I'll show you in a sec. It's in mono. I think this is a repress. I think this is 1969. This was repressed. 1967. I think it was out earlier than that. I think it was out in the late 50s. I was 59. Maybe. Please let me know if I'm completely off track with that. So it's a quartet, and yeah, so that's what it looks like. Lovely cover, absolutely love this cover. If there's ever a cover you want to put in a frame on the wall, it's that one. And to be honest with you, if I managed to pick another copy of this up, I would undoubtedly put one of them in a frame. I don't want to put this one in a frame because it's the copy I listen to. But I think it looks amazing. I love it. I think it really captures the time. So Ornette Coleman, famous for this plastic saxophone that he played, gave it quite a harsh timbre, but it's yeah, kind of particularly like an injection moulded plastic saxophone thing. Yeah, and on the back, it's lovely. We love it. Lots and lots of information, background reading about Ornette Coleman, up to the point that this was obviously released. There's nothing sense of those will be turned into the future. So it's quite nice. There's a lot about his kind of education and stuff like that, which I really like. I really like putting the album on. I like putting albums on, and I like examining the artwork and listening to it and really kind of getting under the skin of it, rather than just sticking something on in the background while I have a cup of tea. Well, I do have a cup of tea, but I like to really sit and kind of engage with the album. So this is a cracking example of how to do album sleeves. Jazz albums tend to do this quite a lot. Blue Note did do this for sure. Atlantic obviously did as well. The Verve were quite good at it as well. So yeah, that's the sleeve. Quite happy with that. And so the record itself, I took it out. I was listening to it earlier, so it was already out. So it's in a bag here, which is got a little anti-stack bag in the middle. This is what I was talking about. Those lovely labels, these kind of early Atlantic labels, that kind of plum and purpley kind of plum and orange. That's it. Sorry, plum's the bottom, orange is the top. I absolutely love the font, the Atlantic font. I think it's fantastic. Isn't that great? So this is early Atlantic labels. So you know your first pressing Led Zeppelins come on these kind of labels. The later ones are obviously, I think, orange and green, a slightly lighter shade of orange as well. And they changed the font. So yeah, it says 1966 on here, so it's a little bit earlier than I thought it was. So that's why I think this is a repress. The vinyl itself is in fairly okay condition. There's a few slight scuffs on it. There's not any warping. It's nice and flat. It rotates nice and smoothly. I did actually clean this, give this a good cleaning, using some PVA glue. It's something that I do for really messy records. I'll put a link in my description because I did a blog post on it last year, showing you how to do it, so if you fancy doing it. It's not very risky. I would try it out with a record you don't particularly value or like, maybe a really cheap Mrs. Mills plays the Party Pops or something like that. So try it out first. But yeah, I cleaned it with that and it came out really nicely. It's still a little bit noisy, but it's not really bad. Sorry if you can see the television on in the background, it's just for a bit of light, that's all. So yeah, I love the package as a whole. I think it's really nice. To listen to. So Ornette Coleman was quite famous for his, they call it free jazz, which means playing without any structure or framework, so to speak. I suppose the structure was kind of inbuilt, wasn't it? Before this album, this is his first one on Atlantic. Before that, he started to kind of work with quartets, himself included, without any chordal player, so without piano or guitar or anything like that. A bit like Jerry Mulligan did, although he was very much a West Coast kind of cool jazz, wasn't he? So here we've got drums, Billy Higgins, Charlie Hayden on bass, Donald Cherry, who is a fantastic trumpeter in his own right, who on cornet on this, and then Ornette Coleman on sax. So you've got sax, trumpet, cornet, drums and bass. You've got no chord instrument in that, that's key. Ornette Coleman was very much somebody that liked to experiment and play around with melodies, so tunes rather than harmonies, which is chords. Obviously, if you've got more than one person playing at once, you kind of get an inbuilt sense of harmony, because the trumpet plays one note, sax plays another one, and the bass plays another note. Chances are there's some kind of chord being created, but it wasn't his focus. He was very much a melodic improviser. The general theme tracks are about a minimum of 4 minutes, maximum of 7. You kind of hear a tune, which is obviously arranged beforehand. They say this is what the notes are going to be, blah blah blah, and then they go on a period of free improvisation, usually for a couple of minutes, and that might be based on the tune that you heard to start with. It might be based on other ideas entirely, and it's quite interesting to hear how they interact with each other. So well, you can hear Ornette Coleman doing stuff, and then Donald Cherry will kind of copy him in some weird way, and he might take it up into its prerogatives or do it under and kind of upside down or something like that. It's really cool. I really like it. It's not the easiest thing to listen to. I just find it really interesting. And then usually at the end you get the kind of that theme, that melody that you heard at the start, the thing that was arranged comes back. So in a way there is a structure. You get a tune, you get a crazy bit, you get another tune. Not always crazy. Sorry about that. I got a phone call on my phone that I'm recording on, so I had to take that. So yeah, overall, the songs do have a structure, and there's some cracking tunes on there. None of them I could really sing to you as such. The most famous one in there is the first track. It's called Lonely Woman, which is his only song that I, as a trumpeter, I have played, because it is actually written out and somebody's put chords to it now as well. So it's called a standard. So I did a bit of research on that actually, and apparently it's written when he used to work as a store clerk in a department store, and he saw a picture of a lonely woman. It was basically a picture of a really rich woman surrounded by all these amazing kind of things that she owned, but she looked really sad, quite lonely. So it's kind of a point about material possessions, I suppose. So all in all, Ornette Coleman, Sound of Jazz to Come. If you like Shape of Jazz to Come, sorry. If you like jazz, if you're a big jazz fan and you've never heard this, you should absolutely go and listen to it. If you're not really a jazz fan and it's kind of something that you like a little bit of in the background, possibly not but for you, but certainly check it out, because it's another way of thinking about jazz, and it's certainly something that will broaden your horizons somewhat. Fantastic. I love it, and I don't play it as often as I should, because you have to really be in the zone to watch it. Okay. I hope you enjoyed it. Do feel free to follow me on Twitter, or I've got a blog which I try to update weekly now, and so on and so on. And do be in touch if there's any albums you want me to review, or actually if in fact there's any albums you wish that I didn't review. That's equally as good. Cheers. Thank you.